Hey guys, if you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Appreciate you. Now let's get to it. Alright, Average Gamer signing on, back with another video. It is very late, but got another tier list. So Street Fighter 6, man. The complaints are in. This month was filled with a lot of complaining about this game, man. Perfect Parry sucks. Drive Rush sucks. Matchmaking sucks. Everything sucks. JP sucks. Like, I will say though, thank you for the engagement, I guess, is for lack of a better term, on the last tier list video. Had a lot of good conversations with people. Had some disagreements, which I expected. And we'll get into some of those with this tier list, because some of y'all, I don't know if y'all made the best of arguments. But I like debating, so thank you for watching and taking the time to write a comment, taking the time to respond to me, and all that jazz. What is this? Month 3 end tier list? Obviously these characters have not changed, but my perspective has. I kind of was in the lab trying to figure out how I thought about these characters, trying to figure out what made characters good in this game. I actually did not play a ton this month, and we'll get to the reason why. Well, we'll get to the primary reason why at the end of the video when I talk about the general gameplay state. But I typically go hard for fighting games in like the first 3 months, and then I take a break because I just don't want to risk burnout. And also, I gotta pace myself, man. So anyway, yeah, my perspective on some of these characters have changed, so maybe we can find a little bit more agreements than in the previous tier list. So obviously S, A, B, C, D. Let's go ahead and get into it. I'm not even gonna waste y'all's time, man. S tier. You. Okay. 6 characters in S tier. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Who cares? I'll order them when we finish out the video. But oh, this is actually really good. Let me talk about JP first, because this is a character that was the primary disagreement on my last tier list. I'm pretty sure last tier list video I had him, I think I had him A? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I had him A. I had to, because that's where the disagreement was. So obviously, my mind has changed. But I noticed that when people were complaining that JP was too low, the reasoning they had, in my opinion, was oh, okay, I don't want to be disrespectful. Not dumb, but like odd. So essentially what people were saying is JP is good because JP win tourney. And I was like, well, I don't know if you really want to keep that standard. Because as we saw during this month, Ryu won a notable tourney. Kimberly won a notable tourney. So does that mean they're S tier now? Like, doesn't really make sense, right? You need something better than that. I think people get caught up. Don't get me wrong, tournaments do matter. Let me say that first. Let me qualify my statement so no one gets upset. Tournament results, yes, they are a part of the equation. But for me, man, I just don't think they're the primary part of the conversation. I think, again, with all respect, I think people who base their character rankings or tier list or whatever based on what character wins a tournament, I think those people try to really only do so because they don't really want to take the time to try to understand the game on a critical level. They don't really want to take the time to actually understand what makes the character good or not. They just load up what it is, start GG, they load up a bracket, look at the very end, scroll to see grand finals. Oh, this guy won. What character did he play? Oh, JP. JP's number 1. Like, that's just not a good argument. And it's one that can't be upheld consistently. Although my opinion on JP has clearly changed, you know, A from S, the reason is different. And this is the primary reason why I said at the beginning, my perspective has changed. The reason I have JP as high as he is now, and he's not at the bottom of S, he's near the top, spoilers. The reason I've changed my mind on him is not because he won a tournament. It's because my perspective on what makes a character good in this game changed. Originally, I thought things that were relatively simple, but you had to respect, were like the keys to this game. So that's why characters like Luke and Guile I've always held really highly, right? These were characters whose game plan actually was not that, like, crazy. They didn't make you guess a ton, but there were just certain things you had to respect. You had to respect Guile's booms. You had to respect Luke's crazy neutral, all of his advancing normals, right? What I think now is how do I put this? Characters who are capable of making you guess on every moment and who have so many options that they're more likely to be able to guess right more than you, essentially, is what makes characters good in this game. Let me, like, kind of explain. Well, I'll explain that after I explain kind of general thoughts on JP. Yeah, this character is just good. I don't know what to say. A lot of people suggest that, like, he doesn't even play Street Fighter 6. He's playing his own game. I actually disagree. I think he's one of the only people in this game that is actually playing the game. Everyone else is playing a different game. The reason for that is because his whole game plan is centered around the primary mechanic of this game, being drive. He has one of the best drive rush checking normals in crouch medium punch. I think that normal is absolutely insane. His zoning is impeccable, dude. Absolutely absurd. I think whether it's spike, whether it's... I always forget the name of the move. The one where he sets, like, the portal up top that he can teleport to or just automatically send a spike down at you. That move is really powerful. There's not a lot you can do to punish him. And typically his, like, quote-unquote, susceptible range is, like, slightly in between short and mid-range. Excuse me, long and medium range. Like, in the range of, like, a drive rush, for instance. This is because you can drive rush at him if he tries to set that little teleport thing up top, and you're, like, just out of the reach of his normals. The problem is with punishing this character is, like, impossible. We've already talked about crouch medium punch. He has a good jab. His stand heavy punch, excuse me, is insane. I find his air normals insane too. I actually think his crouch fierce as well is pretty good. I used to think that his anti-airs were not the best, but I've been getting clipped like crazy on that move, so my opinion has changed on that as well. So essentially, his game plan is simple, burning you out, and he has pretty much all tools to do it effectively. You start the game just trying to get through his minefield, and it is, as I stated before, a complete guessing game. Is he going to spike? Which version of the spike he's going to do? Is he going to set it up top? If he is he going to teleport to you, or is he going to just send the spike down, or is he just going to wait it out? Is he going to send a projectile at you? Is he going to fake the projectile to get you up in the air? Like, everything's a guess. And because he has so many options, more times than not, he's going to be the one to convert off of that guess more than you. And even when you're right, you get in. Okay, now what? Well, now you have to deal with his normals. And even if you get, like, a punish counter, like maybe you get the jump in correct, right? You knock him down. Well, now you have to deal with Amnesia. This move. Oh my god. This move is, again, another guessing game, because not only does it stop strikes, it stops throws, which, by the way, is, like, completely stupid. It pretty much enables JP to never really have to block on wake up. Like, well, okay, for reference, kind of admitting myself here, I'm Diamond 3, so, like, take that for what you will. But, like, in my personal experience, because it's my tier list, JP's either parry, jab, or amnesia. That is it. They don't do anything else. I can't tell you the last time I saw, like, a JP block on wake up. Primarily because they don't have to. Like, amnesia is so powerful, and even if you do a specific option to recover fast enough to block the bombs, or even just throw him after he does it, well, if he has level 1 super, well, that's a guessing game. Is he going to do it? Is he not? Essentially, the amount of guesses you have to make to beat this character is, like, substantial, and each time you're wrong, you're punished heavily for it. You mess up on any of his zoning, you're losing drive. You mess up on the wake up, you're losing drive. You're probably getting put back at full screen. And in this character, once you get burned out, you lose. It's like an auto victory for him. One thing that I also found out that I wasn't really like, I don't know, like hip to, I guess, for lack of a better term. His conversions are like incredible. Like the amount of things he can convert off of was like actually absurd. Like, especially in a game like this where drive, and we'll talk about this when we at the end of the video, but like the amount of like random situations that happen in this game, primarily due to the drive rush screen freeze, it can just be so awkward that some things hit, some things don't. It happens in every fighting game, granted, those like random straight hits. But when it comes to those, like, this character is capable of converting on like all of them. And it seems like every week there's a new conversion. A new way to send your opponent full screen from a random hit. A new way to like side switch to get them in the corner. Like, it's absolutely incredible. So yeah, JP, talked about him enough. But this, I did want to spend some time on him because this was the primary change that I had in this tier list. My perspective on what made characters good in general changed, so thus this character benefited the most from that new perspective, and that's why he will be at the top of the list. But here's what I'll say, because this is the JP section, most people will probably listen to it. If you disagree with anything I've said, or anything I will say, here's the thing, alright? You gotta put XD at the end of your comment, okay? XD, that's it. That way I know you actually listened to me. Alright, instead of getting mad at the placement, okay? So XD at the end of your comment, be a trooper, alright? If you got mad because I said that you're very simplistic minded because you only look at tournaments, okay? Put XD at the end of your comment so I actually know that you're being serious, okay? Otherwise, I just think you got mad. Okay, moving on. Cammy, I really like this character. I got a chance to play her a little bit. I think she's really good. She might have the best offense in the game. One of them. Well, at least, I think offense is a little bit more than... She has some of the best pressure in the game. We'll say that. I think that's fair. Unlike pretty much every other character, though, she is, like, forced... Well, not every other character, but unlike most characters, she's kind of forced to play neutral to get her stuff going. She doesn't really have a way to just skip it. Kind of like my buddy Ken here with like Dragon Lash. We'll talk about him next. So she kind of has to play footsies and neutral to get in and start her thing. But she has like all the tools to do it. Some of her better normals are DI vulnerable, but like, I don't think that, don't get me wrong, it matters, but I don't think it kills the character. So it's only like a slight negative at best. Dive kick is still insanely good at whiff punishing. Can't just throw it out because it can be inconsistent with plus range, but if you really have a good read, it's a great move to use. I'm still not sold on Hooligan, but I really like Spin Knuckle, which is great. Because a lot of characters, I think, actually rely on projectiles. At least to some extent. So her making, these characters really only be capable of throwing fireballs up close is really good. And I think it's stuffs out one of their primary neutral options. Primarily characters who have, you know, fireball, drive rush in their arsenal. So yeah, not really anything. Her damage access is kind of low. It's kind of. I think she does need meter, but with meter she does pretty good damage. Oh, I didn't even talk about this. Going back to JP, we're talking about this character. We're putting him on blast, okay? This character's damage is also really fucking dumb. Like, really dumb. Excuse my French. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, Cammy, really good. Has all the tools she needs. Just susceptible to DI, low damage without meter. Her supers are also really good, to be noted as well. The amount of times I've gotten, like, level 3'd from full screen is, like, absurd. Moving on, my boy Ken. My boy. I haven't played him much this month, but my opinion on him, like, does not change. I don't think there's one thing that he does that's not at the very least good. His neutral is good, his pressure is good, he has a neutral skipping tool, his drive rush is pretty good, his damage is pretty good, particularly in the corner. Has tons of setups, tons of ways to make your opponent stay on their toes. I just think the character is really great. Low short into drive rush, fireball into drive rush, of course, very good. Stand heavy punch, a gift from the gods, people. A gift from the gods, okay? I suppose with the exception of that move, though, like, some of his normals are stubby, some, but, like, that's not that big of a deal, I'll be honest. Mid-screen, I would say, like, his damage is not the most insane mid-screen without meter, but that doesn't really matter because when you're hitting someone mid-screen, you're gonna like run Tatsu them into the corner, or you're going to run Dragon Lash to get like a either like a safe jump, run into overhead, run stop into low. So like it's going to lead to more damage anyway, so saying this character has like low damage is like kind of unfair. His damage is fine. Dragon Lash, very good, as you already know. That's another one of those guessing things. Throw, jab, all very good. Oh, this character also makes you guess a lot too. I'm going backwards a lot. Yeah, essentially all these characters are capable of the guessing game that I talked about before. But Jury, moving on. I think the main thing about this character is just her movement. To me is insane. Her drive rush is incredible. Has a good low short into drive rush. I actually don't think. What's her fireball name? God, I always forget the name of this girl's moves. But the fireball she has, I actually don't think it's that good. But the problem is because she can do so many things at any given point in time, and because all of them are really fast, fireball actually becomes like a really good move. I've noticed. I've actually been getting smoked by fireballs because as I was learning the matchup, I was focusing a lot on checking drive rush, checking dive kick, checking her low short, and stating out the difference of it. So fireball kind of smokes me now, which is really annoying. Yeah, her normals are great. Her dash is insane. She does need to charge technically, but like, let's be like, is that a big deal? Like, I feel like with characters like this, like, yeah, she kind of has a negative, quote unquote. She kind of has to charge her like feng shui, whatever it's called. But like, that's not a negative because like charging is not that difficult. Like, you're never like in a game with Jury and you're struggling to get a charge off. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in some matchups, I'll let the Jury players try to check me on that, but I never see this character struggle to get her stuff going. Drive rush into stand medium punch, I will note, is one of the dumbest things in this game. Like by far. The fact that you're +6 is like you're +6 after, if I'm remembering correctly, on block. That is absurd. Like you're so plus that you can't even grab. You have to delay it. Like that's dumb. That really has to go. But that's primarily a factor of drive rush, which we'll get into at the very end, as I said before. Guile. Again, we'll order it when the tier list is over, but my opinion on him has decreased slightly, but not by much. Essentially, everything I said last video about this character is true. But because of my new perspective, of course, he goes down. Because Guile doesn't really put you in many guess situations. Not really. I mean, the most he can do, guessing-wise, is you waste meters trying to throw a boom. I think he's like, to compare it, like, I think JP relies on the guessing game, and Guile relies on just the obvious but incredibly powerful game plan. But both of their core goals are the same. Both of them try to burn you out and win the game. He does it by guesses, JP does it by guesses, Guile does it by the obvious but insanely powerful game plan. Guile's booms are absurd. Everyone kind of knows this. I think the best thing about the booms, though, is not even like how fast they go or anything. The best part about the booms is that you can change the speed and perfectly waste your opponent's drive. To me, that's like absurd. I think the only difference between JP and Guile, other than the one I mentioned, and why my opinion of Guile has gone down, is although it is you have to be on your toes, this character is far more whiff punishable than like JP is, in my opinion. That's what I learned from playing, because he was one of the matchups I kind of focused on this month in the little time I got to play. Normals are only okay, I think. That's why I think you can whiff punish him. And not to mention, kind of, I think even more so than Cammy, his normals are DI susceptible. So yeah. I don't think there's anything else to say about him. I mean, his damage is fine, but like he doesn't really combo you that much. He's just sitting back throwing booms and stuff. But over time, that damage racks up. I believe with like Super and Meter, he'll probably have damage relative to, like, not the high tier damage characters in the game, but like one tier below that probably with Meter. Lastly, you got Luke, another effed up well-rounder. We'll make this quick because we gotta move on. But yeah, he kind of has everything similar to Ken, but unlike, I feel like Ken puts you in more. Oh, that's actually really good. We'll have the JP Gao dynamic again. I think Ken relies more on guessing right. I think Luke relies on his obvious but very powerful game plan. Sandblast, incredible. His neutral is just insane. Let's just start there. His Sandblast, incredible. Stand heavy punch, incredible. Crouch medium punch, incredible. Stand jab, very good. Only thing that's like bad about him, really, I guess, is his level 2, but like, who uses level 2? You know, like, level 1 is probably the best in the game, probably. Level 3 is also really good. The amount of times I see a Luke player, like, get close to losing and then just start buffering level 3. Like, it is some, I'll be honest, it is some of the most fun I've had in this game, just sitting back and watching a Luke player just buffer level 3 constantly over and over again. One thing I will say about this character though, his drive rush I think is pretty underrated. Like when you hear like people complain about drive rush, like they'll talk about Jury, they'll talk about like DJ, they'll talk about like Ken or Cammy too, kind of. But I feel like Luke's drive rush is pretty underrated. I feel like Luke's drive rush is just as good as like Ken's, I think. I feel like it's probably just as good. So yeah, character has everything. Good damage, great neutral, great corner carry, great supers, good drive rush. What more can you say? Okay, that's S tier. A tier. We gotta speed this along. I feel like I've been talking for hours. Go you, go you, go you, go you, and go you. Okay. Anyone else? Oh, my boy. Facts. Let me talk about this guy first. This is my guy, Rashid. I think Rashid is A tier. I've already gone the whole gauntlet with this character. He came out and I was like, this guy is top 7 free. And then I started playing games, learning more about him, got to Diamond 3 with him. That's the character I'm Diamond 3 with. Then I was like, this character kind of blows, dude. But then I went back into the lab and I'm like, this character is good again, alright? This character's sick, alright? I've gone the whole gauntlet. Okay, so essentially, my opinion on this character is that he's good, but just like with obvious weaknesses. I think his normals being relatively stubby is just an obvious weakness. He does have a low short, which is decent. Actually has 2 4-frame moves. The problem is they're both standing, which I don't really like. You gotta risk those ankles getting hit, you know? I don't really like that. He's actually, I think his goal is to burn the opponent out, because I think when he has his opponent, excuse me, burnt out, I think he's arguably S tier. But he can't burn someone out as easily as like JP or Guile can, in my opinion. Yasar is insane. I think, granted, a lot of it can be dealt with through parry, but I can't tell you how many times I've gotten people just sitting Yasar out, jumping over them and grabbing them, cartwheeling then grabbing them, launching it, predicting a jump or whatever. I just think Yasar is really good. My biggest gripe about this character though is oh my god, it's the anti-airs, dude. He actually has like 3 things, I guess, that can technically anti-air. Like he has OD, Cyclone, Heavy Punch Cyclone. Well, not Cyclone, Whirlwind. Wait, is it called Whirlwind? Oh god, I'm messing up the names of the moves. The thing where he like, oh, Spinning Mixer. That's sorry, I forgot all his moves name. He has like OD Spinning Mixer, Heavy Spinning Mixer, and then like Crouch Medium Punch. And like all of them are only okay in terms of anti-airing, which is really annoying, which makes him susceptible to dump-ins. His damage is pretty good. Without meter, his damage essentially only relies on Eagle Spike. He's not really doing any damage without it. But with meter and in the corner, I think this character is very good damage-wise. He seems... I don't want to call him like a knowledge check character, but like... I don't even get a chance to do like the crazy stuff, because like if you don't even get like the baseline things that he does, like he'll just automatically smoke you. Like I still run across people in like Diamond 3, Diamond 4 who don't know how to punish like raw Eagle Spike, like no wind charged Eagle Spike. And like they automatically lose at that point. Cartwheel is really good in the corner, can bait throws or what have you. But you can I found that you could actually just like, the opponent can just like do a normal and I immediately go under it, which is really annoying sometimes. So yeah, that's pretty much the character. He has a game plan. His game plan is very strong, has all the tools he needs to win, but he does have an obvious weakness. I think that's the thing that separates the A's from the S, I guess. Not saying that these guys don't have any weakness, but I feel like the weaknesses of A are more exploitable than the weaknesses in S, I guess. Moving on. Marisa. I think this character is good. I used to not like this character, but I am now convinced, I suppose. Obviously, best thing about her is her damage output. It's absolutely absurd. Similar to like JP Guile and Rashid, burning you out is kind of what she's going for. And she kind of forces you in a way to play her game, because you just can't sit there blocking all those big hits, because you're going to get burned out and you're going to lose. I think my main issue with her is how do I put this? Her susceptibility to jump-ins kind of kill her. It's one of the reasons I think most of her matchups are even, and they are so freaking volatile. Because if she gets jumped in on, and she's now forced to guess, she doesn't have a get off me tool, she might just lose. But if you guess right on like a fireball or something, right? God forbid an opponent actually shoots a fireball at you, but like if you guess that right, you probably just win the game yourself. So like I feel like this character is just whoever wins the first major interaction wins the game. And that's kind of annoying. But she has all the tools to win the first interaction pretty well, barring some matchups, which I think is kind of what makes her good. But of course, the volatility requires her to make reads. I think, obviously, her damage is pretty good. She doesn't get a ton off of lights, I feel like, but that may just be the Marissas I'm playing against and what I've seen so far, but I don't think she has a ton of confirms off of lights, which I do think is a slight negative. Like, some characters get insane advantage off lights, either through the amount of pushback that their combo will do, either the setup they can do afterwards. But Marisa doesn't really seem to have that, which I do think is a problem. Her command grab, very good too. That was going to be the last thing I know. Her command grab is good. It's just reactable, I think. If you're really on your toes. Actually, it's best when you just don't use it and then randomly send it out. You play the whole game, just spamming Superman Punch, Gladius, what have you. And then you randomly just pull out command grab and win the game. That's wild. Anyway, next up, Dhalsim. Once again, I will entirely defer to the Dhalsim players on this guy's placement, because I don't play any of them. But from what I have, the character just seems good to me. Float, I still think is absurdly good. I think the fact that he can make that little slide move of his, plus with like the trajectory fireball, is very good. Has a manual throw loop, I think. I think it's manually timed. I don't think it's a regular throw. I think it's one of his like directional input throws. Someone can correct me on that. But of course, we all know his main problem. That's his defense. Like, offensively, he's one of the best characters in the game. I think from an overall aspect, pressure, neutral, what have you, I think his offense is fantastic. But his defense sucks. Like, besides level 3, he can't defend himself. And in a game like this, with drive, with DI, like, your lack of defense will definitely hold you back. Honestly, now I'm thinking about it, if throw loops were not in this game, this character would probably be so much better off. But because of throw loops and that added dimension to guarding against pressure, like, this character I just don't think can be S, no matter how good his offense is. So yeah, relatively simple. No need to dwell on him. Chun-Li. Okay. Very technical. I've come around on her stance. I used to think her stance was like not that good, but I actually like it a bit now. I think my main issue with this character is that she seems to require a lot of work for like reward that's like not that high. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's like high. I mean, she's A tier, but like, I don't think her game plan is strong enough to be S, essentially. The best thing about her is her speed. Her walk speed is incredible. Her anti-airs I think back when I first got introduced to this character, I used to think her anti-air sucked because of the down input you had to do. But then like, I got to Diamond, and then all the Chun-Li's I'm playing against, they just walk back because her walk speed is so fast, and then they, what is it, stand medium punch or something? I don't know the move. Like the move where she kind of like throws her kick up into the air, like in an upward diagonal angle. And it works quite often. But obviously if they don't do that, then doing the down input can be very inconsistent. Some of her normals are DI susceptible, but her neutrals are great, obviously. It's Chun-Li. She has all the tools, kind of like the other characters like Yuri, like Luke, like Ken, but I feel like those characters have more juice in those tools than she does, which is why I don't put her in the same realm as them. No throw loop is killer though. That's one thing I will say. If she had like a throw loop, I think she'd be S. I think she'd probably be S. And because she doesn't have a throw loop, I feel like guarding against pressure, I feel like waking up against her is not that difficult. Like, I would rather take my chances fighting her and trying to guess right on her pressure than like Ken's or Jury's. Oh, her Fireball into Drive Rush. Let me say that too, because that's probably one of her best things. Fireball into Drive Rush is very good. Let me note that as well. Had to look at the notes for that one. I was sure I was missing something. Anyway, Blanca. I don't know. I feel like my position on Blanca has like relatively stagnated, so I'm not gonna repeat old stuff. I just think the character is good. I think his neutral was something I came around on. I think his neutral is so underrated. His normals in particular. I didn't know how strong they were. I think the only problem I have really... Wait, oh my god. I'm not thinking about it. Do I think this... I don't actually think this character has a weakness. I just don't think he's as strong. Oh god. Well, excuse me. A weakness that's, like, absurdly bad. I think the main thing about this character is just the mental stack. The amount of things he can do at any given point in time. Severe, whether it's slide, Blanca Ball, Rainbow Roll, command throw, all that stuff. And it's all just so difficult to navigate because I think his hitboxes are just so odd. He does all of his stuff, covers like every aspect of the screen. And we didn't even talk about like Blanca-chan. I actually have like no experience in Blanca-chan, so tell me in the comments what you think of Blanca-chan, because Blanca's eye face, like, don't even use it. They just use everything else that's good about him. Yeah, I just think I think what makes this character good is how well his moves synergize in terms of the screen space that they take and the amount of things he can lock off. And then of course level 2 is crazy as well. So yeah, A tier. I don't really have a problem with him. Again, nope, I can't. I'm trying to think. I don't play him that often, so I'll leave you guys to tell me the weaknesses. But I just think S tier is just better, essentially. Yeah. Don't have a lot to say about him. I'll definitely leave it up to the comments to put me on Blanca's game. DJ, my opinion on him has stagnated as well. I don't think he's S, but I think he's the bridge between S and A, essentially. I just put him A because I find it weird that 7 characters would be S tier, honestly. He's obviously very strong. DI can beat some of his neutral tools, and I think the main thing about him is, in this game, Drive Rush is king, and the amount of things you can do off of Drive Rush really helps.
and him not having a low forward drive rush is just worse. Granted, it's like, I want to be clear, I'm not saying his sweeps are bad, I just think low forward drive rush is better, essentially. But the character very good. That like air knee move that he does that like changes his trajectory, I think that move is absolutely absurd. His damage, although not on Marissa's level, is like 1 tier below it. His damage is absolutely absurd, especially with the machine upper thing that he does. His fireball is also very good. So really the only problems with him is some DI susceptibility on his normals, and everything he has is very good. I just don't think it's the best thing in the game. Because I think Drive Rush, as we'll get to at the end of the video, is the best thing in the game. And the amount of things you can do to Drive Rush is, my opinion, the best things you have. And characters that don't have that, even though they still might be good, they won't be as good. Okay. B tier. I feel like I'm doing an okay job of explaining this. Probably not. Anyway, B tier. Literal mid. I don't think... Actually, I won't waste time. I think we only have 2 characters here, honestly. Jamie. Tyler's average gamer, excuse me, you guys don't get my name. Average gamer's personal pick for most underrated character in this game. I've been saying this for a while. I think this character is actually really good. But again, the problem is his mechanic is just underpowered for me. The fact that he has to start each round just building drinks means that your opponent gets more chances to be right, essentially. But he has everything, really. You don't even like need level 4. At level 3, I think the character is absurd, but you have to get to level 3. At level 3, you know, great command grab, has access to the dive kick. The neutral as a whole is just great. Best sweep in the game, solid low short into drive rush. The main thing is just like getting the drinks, you know, and like you're kind of at times you're forced to give up pressure to get the drink, which is like the issue. So even if you get the drink and you're able to like dash forward and get to them, you would not be as plus as you were if you didn't drink, which is kind of a problem. But at level 4 he's broken. So yeah, essentially mid overall. At no drinks he's like here. At 3 drinks he's like here. Or here. So I think it averages out to him being mid, personally speaking. And then Ryu, the actual definition of mid. Okay, whenever I play this, I'm gonna let the Ryu players go crazy in the comments. I need y'all to really put me on game with the specifics of this character. But I look at, like, my only thought when I look at Ryu is, let's take Luke and Ken, make a list of what makes them good, downgrade it all, and that's Ryu. Like, I just don't know why you would play this character over Luke and Ken. Literally, everything they have, but worse. That's Ryu. He's literally like, he's literally the character that personifies, like, it's fine. His normals, they're fine. Like, they're fine. His neutral, fine. His damage is actually really good, but for the purposes of getting my agenda off. His pressure, fine. Like, everything's just, like, fine. Again, his damage is absurd, that's about it. His mechanic in Dungeon, I actually think is relatively powerful. The problem is, in a game like this, you never give up pressure. Because, wow, I misspoke. Making your opponent guess right in neutral is so much, like, easier for them than forcing them to guess right under pressure. Because in neutral, they have far more options. They have far more screen space to navigate, more decisions at their disposal. So the odds that they guess right is far higher than if you're on top of them. They're forced to wake up. Access to throw loop. They gotta have gotta guard against throw loops, buttons, potential jumps, all that jazz. So for me, in a game like, maybe in a different game he'd be better, but like in a game like this, you never give up pressure. So Dungeon, although is good, is kind of useless. Okay, well, not useless, but like the trade-off you get from using it is not that high. So I don't think it's worth going for. I think I explained that right. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, he's mid, just a worse Luke and Ken. I'm not. C tier, otherwise known as one-dimensional character tier. Because my God, these, like, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I just don't like any of these characters. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I actually like them, but like, I wish they were better. Starting with Lily. Let's just call it what it is. Like, she's just one-dimensional. That's really her problem. Granted, and this is the case for all of them, although they're one-dimensional, the one dimension they have is, like, actually good. But it's just not as good as everything else. Because these characters, they're defined by the amount of options they have. These characters don't really have options. Starting with Lily, of course, though. I just think her mechanics underpowered. The fact that you need Windstock and you have to constantly build it over and over again. Like, it's just completely annoying. Granted, when she's going, she's relatively good, but she has to constantly worry about drive reversal. Her normals, although I think they're underrated, I don't think they're the best in the game. Command grab is good, I guess. Her specials without charge are, like, bad. Not bad, but, like, they're only okay. Her drive rush I don't think is particularly that great. No get off me, no invincible frames on the DP, which honestly is crazy. But the worst thing about this character to me is, like, where are the combos? Like, I feel like the development of combos for, like, everyone else have just, like, blown Lily out the water. I see, like, again, Diamond 3, so maybe I'm not seeing the best of the best, but I just don't see this character really do combos that give her a lot of either damage or pressure after the fact. It's always like light spawn, like 2 lights into like Condor Spire, and then she charges wind. Like, that's it. And again, in a game like this, you take the pressure, man. You don't like, the Windstock is good and all, right? But you take the pressure. The difference is, unlike Ryu actually doesn't need Denjin. Well, yeah, he doesn't need it. Lily kind of needs wind charge, because that's her entire game plan is centered around it. So yeah, one-dimensional. That one dimension is good, but like, getting to it is kind of difficult in my opinion. And I'm just like not high on anything else that she does, of course. Kim. My opinion on this character just drops and drops, man. I blame all of you for complaining about a beta when the game didn't come out yet, because of you people, Kimberly lost her get off me tool, and my opinion on her has gone down and down ever since. My main issue with this character is that her offense and pressure is actually pretty good. The problem is, she actually has to get it going first. And the way she gets it going, unlike the top tiers, she will always risk being putting herself in minus positions. That is the primary issue. Her normals are fine. Some of them are a bit stubby. Stand medium kick is probably one of her best tools, normals wise, but it's not as good as a low short. So she's constantly leaving her ankles exposed to get her best normal out there. Talked about the no invincible DP, makes guessing on pressure even harder. Her quote-unquote neutral skip tools are far more reactable than, let's say, like a Dragon Lash. And again, they're minus. Essentially just, yeah, one-dimensional. She's gonna try to smoke get in on you. She's gonna try dashing get in on you. Every time you block it, which you should, she takes damage, and now she's forced to guess. Like, there's nothing really about this character that I think is all that threatening if you learn how to react to those things. She just takes too many risks. And in a game like this, you force your opponent to take the risk. You force your opponent to make the guess, you know? And it's even better when, even if they guess right, you still are, like, not in the worst situation in the world. Which Kim, in my opinion, just doesn't have. Honda. Oh my god, just, I mean, butt slam and headbutt. Like, need I say more? I don't know what we want, really. Yeah, if you have no ability to, like, perfect parry, this guy will probably smoke you. But, like, even if you don't, I feel like it's not that bad. Yeah. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, yeah, sure, he's little work for potential big reward, but I feel like his reward only comes if, like, you don't know what to do. Like,
even if you don't really know how to parry, like, okay, you can jump back on... I keep mixing the moves up. Not butt slam, headbutt. There we go. Jump back. If you're really on your game, you can DI it. But, of course, you're susceptible to him using light and throwing you, I suppose. But my main issue is just, like, if you stop that one thing, there's nothing Honda does. Like, he's completely useless. If you perfect parry that headbutt, if you find the option for butt slam, whether you perfect parry it or you don't want to take the risk because he can change his speed or whatever. Like, for example, like light shuriken, you know, beats it every time, you know? So yeah, once that's done, the character's over with. He can't do anything. So my opinion on him sinks because of it. Manon, similar to, not similar to Kim, but like kind of. I think she's more safe than Kim, but I feel like she actually has like more risk. I think her neutral's pretty good. Roundhouse is very good. Medium punches are pretty solid. Well, medium buttons in general are pretty solid. I think both her medium punch and medium kick are pretty good. But she's forced to play neutral. She's not the best at it. And she's so susceptible to drive reversal. Her goal is essentially get her medals up, of course. And when she's at like 4 or 5 medals, she's like, Houston, we have a problem, of course. But like, what? Just don't get grabbed, dummy. I'm just kidding. Like, there's nothing really... She can really only get the grab off after, like, drive reversing. I'm not drive rushing. And again, like, the second I see this girl turn green, I'm drive reversing. I don't care what she does it off of. And if she does it just in neutral, like, it's not like her drive rush is insane. Like, I'm probably just jumping at that point. Granted, her anti-airs are insanely powerful. Crouch heavy punch, and she gets to slam you down right next to you and gets a mix-up. Yeah, that's very good, I suppose. Like, but the thing is, neither of you are going to jump. So now you're forced to play a ground game against her, which is the goal of the grappler, granted. But that's not, like, the worst, because her neutral is not the best. And in this game with drive rush, it's not like you're struggling to get in on her quickly and then forcing her to guess. And she doesn't have a get off me tool, so her defense is relatively weak. And her damage beyond command grab kind of sucks, so a lot of times you can kind of just hold north on her. And she's forced to use meter because she's constantly trying to drive rush you, because she's probably not going to be just throwing out grabs randomly in neutral. Or unless she's like tick throwing you, but that's like not really neutral, I suppose. But again, we can just hold north on that too. So she's almost forced to go for that light Ron point or whatever, and that doesn't do insane damage. So yeah, all the risk, not that high of a reward. Again, if you guess wrong all the freaking time, yeah, she'll probably smoke you, get to level 5 and win, but like, the odds that she guesses right, excuse me, the odds that you actually guess wrong that often is low. Because this character does not have that many options, especially, and if you compare her to these characters, more times than not, you're going to have far more options at any given moment than she does. Then lastly, got Geef. I mean, what more can we say? He's the worst. No, and this is exactly what I'm talking about, going back to the whole JP tournament thing. Snake Eyes won a tournament. Does that mean Zangief is S tier now? Well, no. No, Snake Eyes is just better than you. He's better than all of us. Why? Because he's Snake Eyes. The character is not what was crazy. The player controlling him was. Alright? Snake Eyes is better, not you. But I do think, like, some people definitely downplay Zangief, which is kind of weird. Like, I don't have to downplay this character to prove that, like, I think he's the worst in the game. He does have, like, decent stuff. Like, air throw is very good. Like, air throw is good. Like, I think some of his normals are pretty good. The problem is, everyone else has more. Like, that's it. And in a game like this, more is better, because my change in perspective, more options means more ways to get wrong on a guess and then lose the game. He pretty much relies on hard reads. Obviously, he's a grappler, but like, more times than not, I think it's really weird, because grapplers, you play a grappler, you play the ground game because neither of you can jump. And you tend to play back.
But I feel like in this game, your best way to beat Zangief is don't even play like a zoner. Don't try to stay back. Don't try to play this solid neutral game, constantly keeping out of his range. No, screw that. Go after him. Because the guy has nothing he can do that can actually defend himself beyond level 3. And like similar to Dawson, like the second he gets level 3, both you and him know it. And you know he's going to spam it. Because that's literally all he can do. So avoiding level 3 is like not hard. You just tighten up the strings, or you make sure you're able to jump out of strings and force him to whiff it. And if he does, he loses. So yeah, he's the worst. I think that's pretty obvious. Someone's alarm is going off in my house. Anyway, yeah, I just don't think I don't think the character is bad. It's more so the worst of the best. Let me put it that way. I don't think the character is bad. I don't think anyone in this game is bad. But since we're done with the tier list, let's talk about the general gameplay state. And of course, that's my overall opinion. Oh, shoot. Actually, first, let's order. Let's do that first. Ken, I think it's the best. I think JP's next. I'm fine with Luke being third. I'll put... Ooh, Jury or Cammy? I don't know how to order these three. Okay, my bias. I hate her. I hate her the most, so we'll put her ahead. Yeah, we'll do that. Whatever. This. Move you back. I'm fine with that, actually. Fine with that. Do I think Kim's the best in this tier? I think so. Yeah, that's fine. We'll go with that. Okay, that's the tier list. Again, if you watch the video, you know what to put at the end of your comment if you disagree with me, alright? Some of y'all are going to get checked real quick, alright? Anyway, be a trooper. Anyway, general gameplay stuff. Character balance overall is fine. That's not really my issue. I think this is probably one of the more balanced fighting games you've had on release, obviously. Everyone kind of has something. It's just a matter of who has more than the rest. My issue with this game is actually not its character balance. It's the system mechanics. Drive rush and parry. These things are freaking problems. Oh, before I even talk about those, matchmaking. I heard it got fixed. I'm not sure how true that is. Someone tell me. But matchmaking was definitely a problem. I'm sick of playing the same people. The connection in this game is actually good, so I want to play more people. But I heard they made a change to it. I haven't played in a minute. Most of the... Again, I actually have not played that much this month. Again, partially because I'm pacing myself. Don't want to risk burnout. But also because, as we'll get into, there are certain things in this game that, like, really annoy me. That really, like, tank my desire to play this game. And the matchmaking was one of them. But then, of course, the next ones were the system mechanics. Drive rush is stupid. Like, let's just get that done now. The thing that makes drive rush dumb to me really is just the screen freeze. The screen freeze just causes so many weird situations. It causes, like, wild inputs to happen. Causes all of these, like, stray random hits. Like, I just don't like it. And because it's so powerful, some games just boil down to, like, each character drive rushing at the other over and over again. I just don't like it. I don't like playing against it. I don't like watching it. Perfect parry. My problem with this mechanic is that it just shuts down. Like, if you hypothetically perfect parried your opponent on everything that made them good. Like, we saw this out at Gamers 8, for example. If you perfect parry Dragon Lash, Ken, he doesn't plummet, but, like, his effectiveness goes down the drain, dude. Perfect parry is insanely strong. Because these characters rely so heavily on their special moves, in addition to drive rush. And perfect parry stuffs all of it out. Like, take Honda, for example. Perfect parry. If you perfect parry, the character does nothing. The character, like, auto loses. There's nothing you can do.
Perfect parry just like shuts down characters, and granted, that's why it's only a 2-frame gap. Like, it's not going to be a reliable thing to do. But I still think it's just too powerful. I don't know. Because I feel like as you get better at this game, you're going to probably get better at perfect parrying. Like, I remember I played this guy, like, completely, like, was better than me. Outplayed me completely. I get a perfect parry and I'm like, stealing games off him. Like, I don't know. I just feel like parry kind of has to be aggressive. That could just be my bias, admittedly. But I just get the sense that it's too strong. Lastly, inputs. I haven't really suffered a ton of them over the course of Street Fighter 6 until, like, recently, like, relatively recently. And then I was seeing clips on Twitter, I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, and it does in part have to do with, like, the screen freeze. Most of the input situations I have in this game, well, input problems, I should say, are with the screen freeze off the drive rush, which is genuinely annoying. But I think inputs definitely have to be an issue. Addressed, excuse me. Is an issue that needs addressing more accurately. Because in a game like this, especially with drive rush in the game, especially with these characters having so much juice to them, capable of skipping neutral so quickly, capable of, like, insane amounts of pressure. The guessing game I was talking about earlier, that kind of themed this video, it's just too much, and you need to be able to get your inputs right. Like, imagine losing a game because you guess right, but the input completely messes up and you lose. That's tough. That'll probably make you uninstall. But anyway, that's my general problems. And I think between the inputs, perfect parry, and drive rush, these 3 things in particular, it's the main reason I did not play a lot. That's why you didn't see any videos on the channel, like any online gladiators or anything like that, this past month, because I just kind of was done. Most of the playing I did for Street Fighter 6 was in preparation for this video, which is why it came out late. I was kind of just in training mode, offline, did some online matches, but I just think it's bad, and it's really unfortunate because I think it detracts from the good things that this game did. Because again, I think this game is probably one of the most balanced fighting games we've seen. It's just the system mechanic that juices some of these characters to, like, absurd extents. And then the characters that abuse that drive, like JP, like Guile, like, it makes them so odd from the rest. And then the characters that actually utilize it to extreme extents, characters like Jury, like Ken, they become far more powerful than they would be otherwise. Like, if Drive Rush, like, got toned down, I think Jury would like get put in line, like, relatively with, like, the rest of the cast. But hey, that's just me. As I said before, any complaints, you know what you gotta put at the end of your comment. You know what you gotta do. Hey, if you didn't watch the full video, that's on you, man. That's on you. I put it in the most popular part of the video, most likely. Hey, if you don't put it there, I'm going to assume you have no leg to stand on with your arguments. But anyway, thank you for watching. Obviously, this is probably a very long video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Plan on getting some more videos out. Got a lot of scripted videos coming y'all's way. Yeah, leave a comment with your thoughts. I'm always in the comments, always looking for debate. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Average Gamer, signing off. See you guys.